I mean, who would have thought it? Nottingham Forest joint second as we head into January. But Nuno is keeping his feet in the ground.
We play Luton for the FA Cup at the City Ground, which is huge for us. It's a good chance for us. I'm sorry to not answer your direct question, but this is the reality. We must prepare well. The FA Cup is important. It's a good chance for us. So first, Luton.
The rest of the country's looking at the league table at the moment. When do you think you might?
I don't know, maybe in the end of the season. Probably I'll take a look.
At the end of the season?
Yeah. Final game
Not
against...
Champions, when you're in the Champions League spot, not 4 games from...
No, in the end of the season, I don't know which... Yeah, but in the end of the season, I'll take a look. I promise you guys that I'll take a look at it.
Fantastic.
Pretty obvious, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do they belong in the top 4? You bet they do. I think it's brilliant. There's a message from Sue. Good morning to you, Sue. Oh, please. Do a Leicester. Nottingham Forest are a big club, won the European Cup twice, and coming back to the fore with Nuno. Let's talk about them as a top 6 team and not as a poor Leicester who won the league when everyone else was poor. Sue, come on. When everybody else was poor.
Not sure about that.
Kidding.
I mean, Leicester won the league on their own merits. There were other teams in that league that probably underestimated Leicester, and they seemed to play the same way against Leicester all season. Everyone knew what they were going to do. Danny Drinkwater was going to get on the ball and look up, and Jamie Vardy was going to be on the shoulder of the guy defending high up and go in behind him. That's what they did all season.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be unbelievable that the top teams underestimated it. Forest are a different proposition.
Yeah.
Forest, if you look at them, you don't, with the exception of a couple of players on the field, you don't see any superstars there. You see players, I mean, Newcastle moved Chris Wood along because he wasn't deemed to be part of the project that they were doing. And yet here, Nottingham Forest are, at this moment in time, second in the league with a guy that's scoring goals for fun. And he looks really... I like him as a player, Chris Wood. I think he's an honest player. But I don't think he's a world-class player in any conversation.
Well, it's a heck of a story. We're agreed on that. But could it become a very special story? How far can Forest go this season? Forest fans listening in this morning, I must admit, and I'll be honest with you now, I watched that game last night. Before it, I thought, I fancy Wolves here tonight. Home advantage, I reckon they might just do it. Far from it. 3-0, Forest won it. And now, is the Champions League very much on for Nottingham Forest? Or, and as I say, whisper it quietly. And why should we whisper it quietly? Might we have a Leicester City on our hands? Could it happen? Sorry, Sue, but I'm saying it. Could Forest go all the way? Forest fan Sam has come through to us. Let's find it. Sam, good morning. Are you joint second?
We are third. We are third.
Oh, Sam, I was going with you, mate. Well done, Come on.
Well done, Sam.
No, a goal difference is essentially a point, isn't it? So
well said, Sam.
So it is factual.
Sam, what is on though, mate? Good morning to you. You. Like many Forest fans, you're trying to get in touch with us this morning. You have been successful. I'm delighted to speak to you. Is Champions League very much on?
Champions League's on. It's got to be now. It's got to the point where if you once you get halfway through the season, I don't think you can deem your position as being false. And we're there on merit, and we're there for a reason. And it's just clicked this year. And don't forget, we've got a lot of forgotten men in our squad as well. If you look at the likes of Nico Williams, who couldn't make the grade at Liverpool, Anthony Elanga, that couldn't make the grade at Manchester United, and Hudson-Odoi, who's now performing, and arguably Gibbs White, who had a tough time at Wolves. He went on loan at Sheffield United, made his mark. Chris Wood, who's again been moved on by Newcastle, and look at all these players just clicking now, and it's just happening for us. I
mean, it could get very special. Are you even thinking of along Leicester lines? What do you think?
It would. The game against Liverpool will be interesting, and logically, Liverpool are the favourites, but the City ground will be rocking that day. It will be vibrating, and we will make it difficult for them. Can we get over the line? I don't know, but speaking about it logically, it's not going to be on the cards. But you've got to just keep believing.
You have to. I mean, you host Liverpool next Tuesday in the Premier League. Before you leave us, Sam, did you see any of this coming, or did you think you'd be in a scrap at the foot?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I didn't think we'd be relegated as such. I think there was going to be a small pack just above the bottom three, and we'd be like languishing around there. But what's happened, and all credit to Nuno. I don't know how he's done it, but no manager goes into a side and and says, well, we don't want you to have team spirit. Like, every manager wants the team to have spirit, but he somehow, I don't know how he gets it out of him, but he's doing it every single game. It's incredible.
Amazing. Sam, thanks for the call. Many Forest fans getting in touch. I'll get to you. Sam, you have to wonder what Nuno has done to transform the place.
Well, he's done it before, hasn't he? He did it at Wolves. He got Wolves into a position where there was an incredible team spirit and an incredible balance about the side. They came into the division with him and they were successful. They went into Europe, didn't they? Or got close to it in their first season. And then as time passed by, it drifted away. He wasn't the right fit for Tottenham Hotspur. And he went to the Gulf states and came back.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, the question about whether Nottingham Forest, the average points total that gets you into the top four is 70 points over the last 3 seasons. 68 last season was quite low. 71 has been the last 2 seasons. So if you average it out, say 70, they've got to get 30 points out of the next 19 games. If you look at their fixtures, with all due respect to them, they're perfectly capable of doing it based upon the form that they've got. But it's all about the squad depth. As you get into the business end of the season, you start to come out of the January window, come into the Februarys and Marches, where players tend to run out of gas and energy starts to become part of it, and injuries become even more prevalent. We'll see if they've got the depth. But they've put themselves into the ideal position. They should be qualifying. There's little doubt in my mind they should qualify for Europe. What European version they qualify for is the discussion. And right now, with needing 30 points from 18 games, it's upon them. And if you look at the games, I'm looking at their games thinking, well, they've got teams like Southampton coming up imminently. Okay, the Liverpool game will take care of itself. And if Forest were to beat Liverpool, then it really puts the cat amongst the pigeons.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they've got Southampton after that.
Yeah.
And let's face that one. That should be 3 points.
Well, it should be. Tom's a Nottingham Forest fan. Tom, good morning. Did you see this coming, mate?
No, I didn't. I was just happy to be like mid-table and then just make general progression over the next couple of seasons. But no, this is an unbelievable achievement. And if we get into any European competition for next season, I think it's absolutely brilliant for the league and obviously for Forest, because it just shows that any team can do it.
It's brilliant though, Tom, isn't it? I mean, it must be great being a Forest fan, because the anticipation of where this may lead is key here, isn't it? I mean, you never know. Champions League, is it on? Yeah, it's on. Is it Leicester on? Well, it could be. And of course, if you beat Liverpool next Tuesday night, and God knows what could happen.
Yeah, what's the point being a football fan if you can't dream? I mean, before we got to the Premier League, it was 23 seasons of misery, really. And I went last night to Molineux, and I wouldn't say we played well, but it just shows a sign of a good side where you can grind out a result and come away 3-0 winners. But no, it's unbelievable at the moment, and we're just enjoying the season. I don't want to get too above my station saying we're going to do this, going to do that, but bit by bit, we're doing well, and that goes down to the owner, the players, and Nuno. It's been fantastic this season.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Tom, enjoy it. Simon, there's a message. I'm coming to you, Callum, incidentally. Did Spurs pull the plug on Nuno too early? 17 games.
No, I'm not sure. I mean, I think that ultimately the fit that for the Nuno that was there at the time, I don't think he was the right fit for Tottenham Hotspur. I think he's a pragmatic coach. And I think with clubs that are coming back, I mean, Nottingham Forest were not a giant of a football club until Brian Clough came along. They were a parochial Midland side that Clough transformed into this brilliant side for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And then they were in and about the middle to top end of the Premier League, and then obviously they got relegated, and they spent a quarter of a century. That 70% of the time that the Premier League's been existent, Nottingham Forest weren't there.
Yeah.
So in these sort of environments, there's less expectation, there's less onus upon him. Now, of course, that will change. If he gets them into the Champions League next season, he'll have all the challenges that Villa have had, all the challenges that Newcastle had, because the landscape is weighted against them in terms of their ability to be able to invest in a squad that's able to deal with both challenges, the Premier League and a European competition. But that doesn't mean that you don't pursue these ambitions, because otherwise, what's the purpose of
it? Callum's a big Forest fan. Callum, good morning. I think on a number of occasions, Callum, I've told the story right here with Simon. When you won the playoff at Wembley, I was taken to a suite, and there was Evangelos Marinakis, and he told me in a very excited state it was all about trophies now, trophies for Nottingham Forest. You beginning to believe in this, Callum?
Yeah, 100%. I don't see the reason as to why not. But for me, I think it's the fact, obviously you say, can you do a Leicester? Can you do a Leicester? For me, didn't Liverpool do the same? They won 1 in 30 years. So could you say that we're also doing a Liverpool as well?
Yeah, but nobody Nobody thought, with all due respect to Leicester City, nobody thought, Callum, they would come through it the way they did. I mean, they were a complete underdog at the start of the season. They were 5,000 to 1 to win it.
That is true, but then you also look at that table. You had Liverpool, who finished 8th that season. Chelsea finished 10th that season.
Yeah.
Like the teams that you would expect to be up there, that was the flukiest season I think I've ever seen as a fan.
I think some of what you've said is fair. I'm not sure it's fluky. I mean, Leicester won the title fair and square, but you are right to point out that some of what people consider to be the marquee teams, as you are seeing in this season, you are seeing Manchester City, you are seeing Manchester United, neither one of them in contention for the Premier League, which certainly in Man City's case no one would have expected. Yeah. So I do think there's a similarity, but I don't think you can say that it was simply fluky.
John is a big Forest fan. John, I'm going to finish with you. As I finish, John, actually, I can bring you a bit of news. Here at talkSPORT, they're running a poll on Forest. 10% of people think they'll win the Premier League. 30% think they'll end up top 4. 48% think it will be Europa League. And 11% think they'll finish with no European football whatsoever. What do you think, John?
Hi, Jim. Hi, Simon.
Hi, John. Morning.
To be honest, I think the people at the 11% don't know what they're talking about.
Yes, go on. Go on, John.
It's just a massive wave that we're riding at the moment. It's so exciting. A few things to look at, though, as well. A lot of people are saying, can they go for the league? And some people are saying that's ridiculous. It's just going to be Europe. I mean, Europe will be fantastic anyway. At the start of the season, I thought we'd have a better season than we have the last two. I think we finished on 38 first season. Last season was, if you put the 4 points back on, it was 36. I thought if we can get 50 points, it shows progress. Yeah. And that'd be mid-table. And that's what, as a fan, I think that's what we all hope for, progress. This is amazing.
It's amazing. But John, that was interesting. You mentioned that there, though, John. When you get the points deduction for the spending, and it was 6 points reduced to 4. Did you think then, oh God, life is bad for us at the moment? You could never have imagined this.
I think when we got the 4 points, we actually thought, we'll take that, actually, as fans. That's not, that it could have been much worse. Yeah. But no, we never expected this the next season. Like I said, I thought, with the signs we made in the summer, and Milenkovic, people like that, I thought we're going to be better. 50 points shows progress. But this is absolutely amazing. Great. But when people talk about can we go for the league, why not? Why not? If you look at the last 6 games, obviously we know we've won the last 6. If you look at the form table, in those 6 games, we've made up 6 points on Liverpool. Right. They've only got 12 points from the last 6 games. Great point. We've got 18. So we're now 6 behind them. If we beat them on Tuesday, which we're the only team this season to have beaten them, then who knows? Exactly. Who knows? If you was to go on the balance of probability, we're probably not going to win the league. We've just been in 2 relegation battles, and all the other teams up there have been up there every season. Yeah, but John, I love that. It's probably unlikely, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? If we beat them on Tuesday and we keep going as we are, it's not about Liverpool dropping points, it's about us keep gaining points. Quite right, John. And you made the case well, my friend. Well done.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.